Brook Green Gardens president and CEO is a Jewell, and he's lighting up the holidays. What's it all about? You'll find out coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the M. Russell Holiday Cottage at Brook Green Gardens, the largest outdoor sculpture garden in the world, and the home of Nights of 1,000 Candles, which kicks off today, running from 3 to 10 p.m. We're focused on Brook Green and the Nights of 1,000 Candles, and we're visiting with its president and CEO, the Honorable Bob Jewell, and a member of the Georgetown County School Board. Good morning, Bob.
Yeah, good morning.
Obviously, the honorable thing. Have you gotten used to being called the honorable?
No, I really haven't. but
you remind your wife
if it starts to go to my head, my wife brings me down to
Tony
it.
pulls you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't take her long
That's
at all.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. You ran last year, was it?
It was 4 years ago. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll be coming up for re-election next November.
Wow.
So
how
yeah,
exciting.
it's amazing how fast that time went.
That's
it really
a big time commitment. Outside of working for a nonprofit group like Brook Green Gardens, you've got to be focused on education.
Yes. Oh, it is a big commitment, and I gave it a lot of thought before I decided to run, and I'm really glad I did. It's just, you know, it's something that I feel very passionate about, education, and trying to continually improve the standards that we have in Georgetown County and in the state of South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
And the end result is a positive for the kids. So I get really excited about it, and it doesn't seem like it's a real challenge for me to find the time because I enjoy it so much.
Sure.
And when you enjoy something,
yeah.
the time goes quickly.
When your own kids were in school, had you thought at any time prior, whether in Ohio or Wisconsin or anywhere?
Yeah, well, it's kind of an interesting story because someone presented me with the opportunity of running for the school board.
Right.
And our youngest son, Colin, had been through the Waccamaw schools here. Our other two kids had already graduated and were in college when we moved here 12 years ago.
Right.
So I had some concerns about the schools, to be very candid, and I voiced those. And when the opportunity came up for me to run, I wasn't going to do it because Colin had finished high school, was on his way to college. And Tony, my wife, said, Bob, you either run or never, ever voice your opinion again. I said, okay, you're right.
Wow.
So I did, and I really have been very pleased that I did. Some wonderful people in the school district, some wonderful administrators, teachers, principals in this county are just fabulous. So, and they have a tough job, very tough job, with all the accountability standards at the federal level and the state level.
Right.
And then the local challenges that they have make for a very complex job and career.
Much like ORE, where we think of geographically the largest county in the state, Georgetown, I think, is the fourth largest county in the state, where oftentimes you'll see pockets of wealth or of pockets of strong, and then you've got a lot of rural area. And so to match those, the dichotomy there for you and the school board to think about real pockets of tough poverty in other areas like this Waccamaw Neck, that's a big deal to bring those votes together and make sure there's a consensus.
Oh, you're right. And, you know, one of the issues we face in the state and in both counties, really, high school graduation rates. Right. And it's something that we've placed a lot of emphasis on in Georgetown County. Where we have a group of people that have developed a task force, and then each school has a committee that addresses that specific issue. How do we get more kids through high school? How do we get more kids graduating from these schools so they can go out and get decent jobs and they can be productive members of our society? And we feel we're making some real progress. We really do. And it's something you have to get at the micro level. You can have policies and strategies, at a macro level, but to make it happen and to impact a child's life, you have to get right there in front of them. And that's what we're trying to do.
Positioning those children for the future and jobs ties in well to your day job. And
it
obviously
does.
Your day job is right here, and the day kicks off early, getting ready for 3 p.m. today when folks start flooding in for Nights of 1,000 Candles. This is not the first year of Nights of 1,000 Candles.
Now, actually, this is the 9th year
Wow.
of NOTC, but it has improved every year. It's improved in terms of the quality of the presentation, the quality of the entertainers, quality of the food, quality of the operation to support people that come in here. And we've just been extremely pleased the last 3 years.
Yeah.
We really have, because our attendance 3 years ago, it really started to move up. And there was a correlation between that and the quality of the event moving up.
Oh, yeah.
And one of our strategies has been to turn this into the regional holiday event in our state. And we feel we've pretty much accomplished that.
You've reached that. Now
Yeah.
it's going to become, working on it becoming not only the regional, but the national.
Oh, absolutely.
holiday
Yeah.
event.
I mean,
I'm sure you're
as you know,
that.
I've lived all over the country,
Right.
and honestly, I've never participated in an event as good as this for the holiday.
Is there another
It's-
Nights of a Thousand Candles anywhere in the country?
There are, yeah. The Desert Botanical Garden in Phoenix has been doing
Right.
one for about 30 years.
Okay, yeah.
And it's a program that's caught on because,
Right.
all the not-for-profit institutions are looking for ways to generate cash so they can operate.
Yeah.
And, it's like a business. Everyone watches what the other person is doing, and I think people have seen the success that these events have had in terms of the offering to their members and the guests in the surrounding communities, but also from the business side, the cash that it generates to help support the institution.
Right. When you take a great idea like the one in Phoenix and make it better.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's done right here. And
We had 17,000 people last year. And
that's a conservative number, Bob. You had to have more folks than that. Yeah.
Well, everyone gets compressed,
Right, sure.
and so the density level's fairly high.
Oh, yeah.
But this year we're looking at having over 20,000 people.
Wow.
So.
Of course, you've added a night or two.
We have.
Is it
We
7
have.
nights?
Yes. We last year we got together, and we do this every year as a staff and our volunteers, which we could not do this
A lot of
event
volunteers.
without. We
Right.
really couldn't. And I asked everyone for their input, and I received a lot of input from our volunteers and from our staff, lots of critiques, what we did right, what we did wrong. And then we got together and sorted through those and had meetings and tried to make changes operationally. One of the suggestions was that we open an additional night, maybe 3 additional nights. We decided to open 1 additional night. Then we expanded the hours. We're now opening this evening at 3,
Right.
and we will close at 10.
10 o'clock.
In prior
Okay.
years, we closed at 9.
Right.
So we feel that will help.
Right.
We've expanded our admissions plaza. We'll have another lane open. We added an acceleration and deceleration lane at the front entrance that was not there last year.
Right.
That was done through the help of Vita Miller and Ray Cleary, who really helped us get the funds to do that.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's gorgeous out there.
so
easy coming in early this morning at 6 a.m. to think about getting in here for the interview, and
Right.
obviously it's fantastic.
Well, we're hoping that helps alleviate some of the traffic jams. And we've worked with the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office to have more presence right at the front entrance from them, and I think that will help too. So, in the parking, we've arranged differently, and we've made a lot of operational changes, but we've also made a lot of changes to the quality of the program, and I think people will be very, very excited. I know we are.
Oh, yeah, well, for you, and of course, as you say, it's so much volunteer-driven. Obviously, you've got a tremendous staff here, but without the volunteers, it's great always to think when you're in an expanse like this, you're thinking, how could they be run so well in such this gigantic territory? How could it operate so efficiently? But it's thanks to a lot of tremendous volunteers.
Oh, the volunteers are wonderful, and what we do as a team here is we make sure the volunteers try our best to be sure that the volunteers know everything the staff knows. Right. And we have volunteer meetings quarterly. We convey all the information about the programs we're offering, any changes that have been made. Right. So my objective is to be sure they know everything we know. Mm-hmm. And even some of our culture programs that we do for our people, we have a culture award program for our staff, for managers and non-managers. We do the same thing with our volunteers. And it's a simple little statement with about 14 elements of how we want to live our lives here at Brook Green, to be respectful of one another, to be a team, to pay attention to detail, manage by walking around, all of those things. And we share that not only with our staff, but with the volunteers. And that really helps to have a cohesive presentation, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Now, we fail once in a while, but we get back up.
Quickly, absolutely. Well, of course, a lot of viewers now probably thinking, how can I volunteer? Or I want to learn more about Nights of a Thousand Candles. What's the best way? Is there a phone number or a website? What's the best phone number to call?
Well, the best phone number to call for Nights of a Thousand Candles is 235-6000.
Okay,
and then our website is www.brookgreen.org.
That's very
and
easy.
we have a very comprehensive website and has lots of information about Nights of a Thousand Candles, and then some of our programs that we will be offering the beginning of next year.
Absolutely.
So.
And for our viewers in the PD in southeastern North Carolina who'd want to come down, obviously a lot of the information, the schedule. We'll talk about some of the stuff that kicks off today.
Okay.
Obviously hearing names like Rocky Fretz and Bill Oberst and so many others that you've had year after year, but folks that a lot of new stuff coming up for Nights of a Thousand Candles over the next 6-7 days. A big year, but they can easily come on down if they're coming down 17 bypass. That's what I was about to highlight for viewers coming in from the PD who want to make this highlight that aspect of it being a great regional event. If they're coming down, it's real easy to find Brook Green Gardens.
Oh, very easy. Yeah, absolutely. You get on 17 and you will find it. And our front entrance has been enhanced, and we're very, very proud of that front entrance. The Fighting Stallions now are displayed appropriately, and they're on a large pedestal. We have the entrance line with oak trees, so it's a very good presentation.
It is.
And you cannot miss it.
You can't miss it.
Yeah,
That's
especially
right.
at night.
Even at night. I was about to say even at night, but you threw in especially at night.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
Well, and we have posters at the mile mark on the north and south. Those are also lit up. So, I love marketing. And when I first got here, we didn't have lights on those. And I said, how many cars pass those posters every night? Like 30,000.
Right.
So we had lights.
And particularly with night starting so much earlier now, it's perfect to really get those up. When you say posters, you're not talking about these kind of posters that we have spread out on the table. You mean big boards that viewers will see if they're coming in from the PD. They're not going to get lost. Just get on 17 and start heading down to Pawleys Island. It'll be on the right or vice versa. If they're coming up from Georgetown, obviously they wouldn't have any trouble finding it.
Correct.
Let's focus a little bit on the schedule. Obviously, today, events kicking off.
Yeah, tonight, we're starting. We're very excited about it. Staff has really been pumped up all week. We have three mainstays, really: Rocky Fretz, Bill Oberst, and then Vocal Edition. They will be with us every night of the event, all 7 nights. Okay, you can come and you can see all 3 of them or one of them, however you would like to make your visit work.
And how about a little bit on each one of those for folks who...
Well, Rocky is kind of a local legend. He's the piano man, basically, of this area, and he's here a lot. We have him for cool summer evenings and for NOTC, obviously, and he'll come for other performances on occasion, and people just love him. They absolutely love him, and justifiably so. He's very, very talented.
He's a
great entertainer.
Yeah,
Bill Oberst does the Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, and Bill Oberst is amazing. He's absolutely amazing. I've seen him in various performances, and how one human being can comprehend the various roles that he does, because he's a one-person version of the Christmas Carol.
Of everything,
He plays all the parts.
Unbelievable.
And I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times, and I marvel every time I watch him. So he's very, very, very talented.
We interviewed him here at the M. Russell Holiday Cottage a couple years ago, which was a treat. It was actually a tough interview. I tried to keep up with him, knowing where he was going next. But he's an amazing guy.
He really is.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. And then Vocal Edition, they've been with us for several years, and their talent level just speaks for itself. Their music's wonderful. Voices are fabulous.
If folks can't get out this weekend or tonight or tomorrow, they've got 2 other weekends to shoot for. What's even tomorrow night? You've got some special things. Saturday, December 1.
We do. We have some different groups this year. We always try and change up a little bit. We have the High Tide Brass Quintet coming. We'll have the Pawleys Island Presbyterian Church Handbell.
Oh, wow,
coming.
yeah.
So they're fabulous. They were here last year. Our own Ron Days. Ron is our Vice President of Creative Education.
And Ron.
Ron is a performer. He's an artist in his own right. He and his wife did Gullah Gullah Island several years ago on Nickelodeon. And Ron is extremely talented and does interpretations of Gullah Christmas carols. And Christmas stories.
Gullah Christmas carols and Christmas stories.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very moving.
Has he done that before?
He has.
And you say it's moving.
Yes, it is. It really, he's Very, very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Very good.
That's great.
So,
Folks who come down just to see Ron Days perform, if they're not down to see. Now, of course, Rocky, Bill Oberst, and Vocal Edition are all 7 nights.
That's correct.
Okay, all 7 nights.
That's correct. And the best thing to do is check the website
Right.
or call 235-6000
Very easy.
just to confirm, what's playing that particular evening as we go forward. So.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, and of course, there's so many other great nights and great events, but if simply it is this weekend, next weekend, and the following. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
The last weekend, really, we've added Thursday night. So
Right.
it's the 13th, 14th, and 15th of December.
Okay.
So that's
Right.
the additional
Those
night that
are
we've
the,
added. Right.
So tonight, tomorrow night, next Friday,
Next
and
Friday and
Saturday,
Saturday, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
That's
Correct.
tremendous. Yeah. So rain or shine, it's not going to be raining all
Let's hope
7
not.
days. Yeah, that's right. That would be a terrible hoax right now.
Yeah.
We're knocking on some good wood here.
Yeah. I would encourage people to come early. It's very weather dependent, the attendance on a particular night. And if we start off, it's going to be wonderful this evening, but if we start off and it's a little cold or windy or there's some impediments that keep people from coming, it seems the bubble seems to get larger and larger the last weekend.
Right.
So that's why we added the extra night the last weekend.
I'm going to hold up a couple of shots here, Bob. Maybe you could just talk about them a little bit. So viewers are trying, they're hearing you say NOTC.
Right.
And simply you're talking about Nights of 1,000 Candles. And is this a good retrospective? We've got one more there, but
it is.
For viewers who don't know what we're talking about, there's candles really involved.
Right. We'll have between 4,000 and 5,000 luminaries throughout the garden. And for the audience that's been to our garden, they know how impactful that can be. We've also upgraded our lighting that's in the trees. About 10 years ago, there was a very sophisticated lighting system installed in Brook Green. Unfortunately, it wasn't maintained. We started to maintain it this year. It's quite expensive, but it adds another dimension of ambiance to the presentation, and I think people will really enjoy it. What you were holding up there is a brown sculpture court.
Oh, yeah.
That's another great spot, terrific backlighting, wonderful pieces of sculpture, and then we'll have luminaries in the water areas also.
For folks, and the other thrill is for folks who've never been to Brook Green Gardens before, which I hate to think, Bob, there are somebody, but for viewers in the PD or southeastern North Carolina who may not have made a day trip, this is a time where they need to make a night trip, because they will experience, thanks to the candles here, they will experience, of course, that's inside, but this is a great shot of the, and that's kind of a central location.
It is, yes. As you come down, the main walkway, this is what you will see. You'll see Diana the Chase, and you'll see luminaries in the pond. You'll see the backlighting in the trees. You will be impressed.
You
really will.
No doubt about it.
No
doubt about it.
I'm pretty
Get chills, probably.
I'm pretty confident that people will like it if they come.
Absolutely.
And you do get chills. You do. And you never quite know. We'll do runs through the garden at night, but the adrenaline flow's not there because the guests aren't coming. But that first night when you walk out to the garden, it's wow. It is the wow factor. My background was retailing. You always, from a presentation standard, look for the wow factor. We have it.
You have found it here. That's right.
Yeah. If this doesn't get you excited,
go
I don't know what advice to give you.
That's right.
I really don't. So.
Wow, that is exciting, and I love that word wow, and this is an amazing example. And of course, for folks who just aren't going to be in town the next few weeks, obviously there's reasons to come to Brook Green Gardens year-round. We got about 5 minutes, Bob. What are some of the other great things year-round? Of course, you've got an amazing... Go ahead.
Well, and just one thing I want to add about Nights of 1,000 Candles is we have expanded the areas in the garden where people can walk. And we did that for a couple of reasons. One was just we wanted to spread the crowd out. But two, until last year, we really didn't have lights in the back of the garden. And we had some lighting back there last year, and it was fabulous. So we all went back and said, okay, we need to expand this because it looks out over an old rice field, and you get shadows from the lights, and it's breathtaking. It really is. You know, people are really concerned about the crowds. I think it should be much better this year. One of our objectives is to be sure that you have a good time, that the wow factor does hit you, and you see the most spectacular Nights of 1,000 Candles you will see anywhere in the country, not just in the Southeast.
Absolutely.
So we encourage you to come out.
Well, I hate to say it, yesterday's interview with Holly McMillan, who was here promoting Christmastown next Thursday at the Convention Center, I highlighted to her, and she was thankful, but highlighted to her that last year I was coming and had to turn around. The traffic was so bad. There were so many people. Hey, it's a great testament to Nights of 1,000 Candles that everyone wanted to be here, but we went out and turned around and headed out for sushi. It was just such a... which
I
ended
can
up
understand
turning out
that.
well, but the traffic was backed up well into Merle's Inlet. And so
that was the last weekend.
It was, right.
And what happened the first two Friday nights, we had good attendance, but it was kept down somewhat because of the weather.
Oh, yeah.
And so everyone who didn't come those first two weekends came the last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And the last Saturday night, that's the night you had to be here. It was really, really backed up.
Right.
But we think we've made some logistical changes, operational changes that will help that. Now, if we have 4,500 people here, there will be a wait. And the perspective I will give people is if you go to a University of South Carolina game, you wait.
Right.
If you go to a Clemson game, you wait.
There is traffic,
And believe me, this is every bit as special as those two events.
Yeah, or if you're coming into Myrtle Beach in the summertime.
Yeah, exactly.
Saturday,
501.
That's exactly right. So, 501, you're going to be waiting. Yeah.
But you'd ask about other things that we're doing, and I can talk about Brook Green forever. I get so excited about it.
Yes, and real quick, you've been at Brook Green how long now, Bob, as the president?
Well, I've been the president 3.5 years. I've actually been here 4 years.
Okay, great.
And it's just been a wonderful experience. And our marketing tag is ever changing, simply amazing. Ooh, yeah. And we try and change Brook Green to a degree as long as it supports the mission. And in this last year, we opened the Offner Center, a research sculpture center that has allowed us to display hundreds of pieces of sculpture that were in storage. So sculpture that people had not seen before.
Wow.
So that opened just in the last 2 months. We are going to open a new otter exhibit in April of 2008.
A new otter exhibit.
Otter exhibit,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So that is our first effort to start expanding and upgrading the wildlife area. And we have a master plan that will hopefully unfold over the next 5 years. But this will be the beginning of that. In March, we'll have a daffodil corridor that continues to just have brilliant displays of daffodils. We'll have about 200,000 daffodils in the ground now.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, and with the staff and volunteers did that.
Yeah.
And the objective was to provide that as just a wonderful, wonderful experience for people. But also, the daffodils will bloom in late February and March, and it gives people yet another reason to come in what typically were slower months. And then our historical programs that we started a few years ago, Silent Cities, which the trekker takes you out into the old plantations, the old cemeteries, and we really study the burial customs of the slaves and plantation owners, which sounds a little morbid, but it's very, very interesting, and people love it. Ron Days will be presenting gullah programs in January, February, and early March. That reinforces the interpretation we have on our Low Country Trail.
Right.
And just last week, we opened the Oaks Trail Plantation Tour. And that allows you, we have a new bus, takes you out to the Oaks Plantation where the Alstons and Burrs have a cemetery.
Right.
We'll let you walk on your own through a trail that's defined for about a half a mile with historical interpretation of what happened there 200 years ago. We'll be expanding that by another mile, and it will be open by the fall of 2008. So you'll be able to actually walk for about a mile and a half out in the Oaks Plantation.
That's tremendous,
which
Bob.
is a great experience.
As you said, you could talk on and on. We're going to have to get you back. I was thrilled on the front page of the website on the Welcome to Brook Green Gardens reading about it being the only zoo accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums on the coast of the Carolinas.
That's correct.
Which is a tremendous, I had no idea that the zoo here had that kind of a recognition up and down the Carolinas coastlines, North and South Carolina.
And it's a very requiring accreditation.
I bet it is.
It really is. I mean, we have the same accreditation Riverbank Zoo has, San Diego Zoo has, major zoos.
That's
So we
tremendous.
should all be proud of that.
A lot going on. Folks really need to come visit the website, see sculpture, horticulture, obviously the zoo and education, and then planning your visit. If they can't be here one of the next 3 weekends, either tonight or any of the next weekends, they really need to get down here.
They do. They
really
really
get down
do.
here.
We were named one of the 7 wonders of the Carolinas by the Charlotte Observer about a year ago. We were recognized by Congress for our 75th anniversary. They passed a resolution recognizing Brook Green Gardens. So we have a treasure in this area that many, many people recognize, but many people have not yet recognized, and we need to help them do that.
Absolutely.
And you have helped us tremendously. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. We appreciate that, and thanks for opening up your garden, you and everyone's gardens, to the rest of the world to be here this weekend, next week, and the following.
Great. Well, we're glad you're here.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Bob Jewell, the president and CEO of Brook Green Gardens, coming up next. You heard Bob say it, when the sun starts to fade, thousands of candles and holiday lights begin to glow as Brook Green becomes even more beautiful during nights of 1,000 candles. Get out here today. It kicks off at 3. They're open even later. You heard him say till 10 o'clock. And they're also offering an early bird dinner special from 3:30 to 5. Tremendous catering. The full dinner menu will be served from 5 to 9 p.m. So come early for dinner. Stay to see the magic as the gardens glow by candlelight. Real simple, 235-6000, 235-6000, or go online to brookgreen.org to see those tremendous dinner special menus. Go online, enjoy tonight, and all 7 days.